Hello everyone and welcome back to another math video. Today we're going to be looking at how do you find the number of solutions to a system of equations when you graph it. All right, your 30-second review starts now. Here's what you have to know before you start this lesson. Firstly, you should know how to convert an equation to slope-intercept form. So if they give you an equation, you should know how to move stuff around and get it in slope-intercept. Secondly, you should know how to graph an equation that's given in slope-intercept. So look at this, know what the slope is, know what the y-intercept is, and be able to graph it. And lastly, you should be able to graph a horizontal line. So they give you an equation and you should know how to put that on a graph. If you do not know how to do these three things, please do not start this lesson because you're going to be a little bit lost. If you'd like refreshers on any of these topics, I will link some videos in the description below. All right, here we go. New lesson today. When we talk about number of solutions, what we're saying is how many times do the lines cross? When you look at the graph, how many times do the lines cross? So for this one on the far left, right, these are parallel lines. They never hit each other. And because they never hit each other, we would say they have no solution. Oops. Because remember, we want to know how many times do the graphs intersect each other or cross each other or hit each other, right? For this one in the middle, we would say that these cross one time, so these have one solution. And then what happens on the far right if you graph a line and then you graph the same line right on top of it? How many times are those lines hitting each other? Well, they're always hitting each other, right? Because they're the same exact line. And so for this, we would say that this has infinite solutions. So if you graph the same line twice, right on top of itself, it has infinite solutions. All right, let's see how this works. So here we have our equations. Let's do the first one in green. All right, here it is. We should be able to look at that and say, okay, I know how to graph that. Graph -1, slope is -1. All right, here's our line, just a rough sketch for today. And then for the second one, let's do it in purple. So y equals 4 is a horizontal line going through 4. So here is our second graph. And then we ask how many times do these lines hit each other? Well, they hit each other one time, right? Today we're not worried about where they hit each other. We're just worried about how many times do they hit. And they hit one time, so they have one solution. All right, here's our cool clock for today, which means that it's time for you to practice what you just learned. Go ahead and pause the video and try this problem on your own. And when you're ready, you can unpause the video and we'll check your solution. Okay, now that you've had time to work this problem, let's check your answer. Okay, for this problem, for that first one, you had to move it around a little bit. When you moved it around, you should have seen that this right here and this are exactly the same, right? So when you graph it, it's the same line. So we said if you're graphing the same line, it has infinitely many solutions. All right, one more practice problem here. Go ahead and pause the video, try this problem on your own. When you're ready, unpause, we'll check your answer. Okay, now that you've had time to work this problem, let's check your solution. Okay, for this problem, you should have said there's no solution. The reason being is that when you graph these two lines, okay, they are not the same line, but they never hit each other, right? They're parallel lines. If you are familiar with, they have the same slope, right? Slope of 1, slope of 1. And so these are parallel lines, no solution. All right, that is it for today. I hope you all have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.